Hello guys and gals, freaks and geeks and all those in between. I've got a very special upload for you today. Today we're reading Laughing.wmv. I hope you enjoy it. Have you ever met that one kid who always brings his laptop wherever he goes? Like to classes, to the library, and even into the bathroom? Yeah, well, that kid was me. I say that because now I'm almost afraid to look at a computer screen. It all started maybe 3 months ago when I bought myself a brand new laptop. I didn't buy it from resale, didn't find it on the side of the road, and with a do not use sign taped to it, I just walked into a store, plunked down my cash, and bought the fucker. It worked fine, no strange files, no flashing pop-ups, nothing out of the ordinary. Hell, even if it had been, I wiped the entire hard drive within a few days to change the operating system. Never been a fan, for a lack of the better word, tablety feel of Windows 8, so I swapped it out for the good old-fashioned Windows 7. Again, Windows 7 from a reliable source. An old family friend of mine did the whole installation. He's always been my go-to computer guy. He didn't let me down this time either. My copy of Windows 7 ran perfectly, had the whole Microsoft Office set, got my internet set up with Chrome, and set about using my laptop. Nothing about it seemed strange until one day about 2 or 3 weeks ago I was surfing the web and got a pop-up as someone who stored a lot of important files on my laptop, school projects, some fiction writing I had done, and my iTunes library to name a few. I kind of freaked out. I wasn't one of those, you are our 1 millionth customer. Click to claim your free iPad kind of pop-ups is the worst kind, a talking one. Your computer is infected with malware, a rather upbeat voice told me. My blood immediately froze. Great, just fucking great. Now I gotta deal with these stupid scareware virus. To get rid of it probably required another hard drive wipe, and even if it didn't, my files were already fucked. But then the voice continued, "That's right, this computer has been infected by some of the shittiest comedy known to man." I wasn't really sure how to react. I mean, was this virus messing with me? I watched in fascination as the fake malware report faded away to a white screen in a dark blue block letters. The words Jason and Dan's Comedy Hour popped up. Slowly my fears were alleviated. This wasn't a virus so much as a viral marketing for some new comedy show. Out of curiosity, I stuck around and watched it, and to be perfectly honest, it was really fucking funny. The setup was that these two guys, Jason and Dan, ran a goofy talk show. The first sketch I ever saw of them was interviewing Batman, who in true Dark Knight Rises form was completely incomprehensible. Of course, here he was chomping on a cigar and constantly changing the topic back to smoking. I got sucked into it, and before I knew it, I finished the whole episode. It concluded with a link to a website that was hosting a new episode every week. I was hooked. Every Friday, a new episode was posted for download, and I was immediately there to watch and save the file. They all followed a similar formula, with them poking fun at movies, celebrities, pop culture. Both of them were interesting as well, and really played off of each other. Jason was a fast talker. His motor mouth prompted him to spout off wisecracks and one-line zingers and almost non-stop pace. Dan, on the other hand, was more laid back and quiet, but was ready with a snarky comment whenever the time came. It was funny, often off the wall, absurd, and all around fun to watch. Then came the episode that got me to where I am today. I got home from classes, grabbed my laptop, and logged in. I made a virtual beeline for the Jason and Dan website, and found their latest episode. I started the download and saved it to my computer as keepemlaughing.wmv. I clicked the start of the video and treated myself to yet another great episode. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. They cracked a few jokes, did a few interviews, but something just felt wrong with the episode. Then it dawned on me. Dan hadn't said a word. In the middle of their current sketch, which had been them poking fun at Michael Bay's movies, Dan just walked out. Jason seemed to be a bit confused by this and kept calling for him to come back, and suddenly he too walked off the screen, still calling for Dan. Then I heard the sound that I've been trying to wipe from my memory. Jason screamed. It didn't sound forced or faked, though. This was the real deal, and when we saw him next, he was running at a full sprint, paused in front of the camera, his shoulder oozing red through his shirt. He began to cry, beg, and above all, scream. He fell to his knees, blubbering like a baby, as Dan suddenly strode back onto screen. In his hands was what appeared to be a small knife, and the same sort one would use to whittle at wood or skin apples. Without a word, Dan grabbed his partner by the hair, taking a firm grip on it, He then began to repeatedly stab Jason, his blows fast and rapid, Jason's screams rising to a blood-curdling shriek as the knife descended again and again. Streams of crimson began to streak down his face, mixing with the sweat of his brow and the tears of his cheeks. Finally, with a low gurgle, Jason's body hit the floor. I was in such shock I couldn't tear my gaze away from the screen. I had at first thought this was some sort of sick joke, a twisted scene of dark comedy gone horribly awry. I simply stared at the screen in awed silence. Dan turned his face to the camera, and I felt a chill run down my spine. His eyes were wrong. They weren't glowing red or black soulless voids. They were calm and normal. That's what terrified me. These weren't the eyes of a monster. These were the eyes of a human. One who had become the worst monster. One who had become a worse monster than my mind could conjure. Dan stared into the camera and spoke 2 words. Cody Stewart. He knew my name. My jaw dropped in shock. I frantically tried to close the video, but to no avail. My mouse was frozen and motionless. I'm going to ask you a question. What do you know about magic tricks? I didn't reply. Not much of a talker. Well, let me tell you something. Magic is all about misdirection. You've been staring at this screen for weeks, Cody. Why don't you take a look above it? My heart skipped a beat. Just above my laptop screen, the little green LED light beside my webcam was on. How long had it been on? Had it been recording the whole time? How did it even get turned on? Those thoughts were pushed away when Dan spoke again. Your name is Cody Stewart. You're roughly 5 feet 6 inches. You have thick black hair and brown eyes. You live at the street address of 15829 Palm Drive. I threw the laptop to the floor, slammed it shut. Dan's voice still came out. I know where you live, Cody. Expect me soon. At that point, I did the only thing I could think of doing. I grabbed the laptop and began slamming it repeatedly against my desk. I kept smashing it long after the screen was broken and the plastic was cracked too. No, I beat that thing until it split in half. I snatched my phone, called up Dale, an old friend of mine, practically screaming into the phone. I tried to explain, but he didn't know what was happening. But he let me stay with him nonetheless. I've never gone back to the house. I don't think I can. Needless to say, I don't use computers much anymore. I very rarely can convince myself to even use a desktop, much less a laptop or a tablet. When I'm forced to use those, I always ensure that I have a piece of tape over the webcam. He's still out there. He's looking for me, and for all I know, he's watching. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Keep 'em Laughing. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, and take care.